Well, good Friday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. This is the 6th day of March. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for, my friend.
Oh, it's Friday, so our boy Chris Flail will come in, make you laugh. We'll talk a little wrestling. We've got some news out of the NFL, the Great American Classic. Is that what it's called?
World Baseball.
World
Classic.
Baseball, whatever, dude. The World
Same
Baseball
difference.
starts today for the
Matters
U.S.
not. The American team is going to take everything.
I sure hope so.
Although there is a dark horse team that I don't think a lot of people are talking about that we're going to talk about today.
But we'll talk about that and much, much more. You can call or text in anytime, 661-842-2000. And don't forget, daylight savings this weekend.
I'm not excited for this. Anytime we lose an hour of sleep, I don't care what day it is, I'm going to just wake up cranky as hell. And I was just telling myself this morning. I just got used to waking up in the morning and it actually being bright outside and starting my day in, the daylight like the rest of you. And now me and Sparky have to go back to doing it at the dark of night.
Yeah.
God,
I just started my new routine, so I'm actually hitting the gym before I do anything. So I wake up at 2:45, hit the gym, then get home and shower, then get ready, and then come here.
You know how much I appreciate you and your work ethic, my friend. But 2:45?
Yeah.
Why go to bed at all?
Right? That's what I was just telling my wife. I was like, I'll just sleep when I'm dead, right?
No kidding.
But it was definitely needed, especially when you work in radio or media and you sit on your butt most of the day.
You know what? That's a very good point.
Got to get up and move, especially when you get old.
Before about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was thinking the same thing. I was, working here, you don't really think about it because, like you said, you're sitting around a lot and it is what it is. I gained a good amount of weight. I lost it all again, thank God. And actually, I've lost
the winter weight
considerable more than I was expecting. But it really is something you have to, it's like you said the other day when we talked about the Chris Bosh situation. You got to take care of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Take care of your health.
I just picked up a basketball. So if anybody wants to go play some street ball a couple days a week, I just want to go shoot around and get moving around.
Honestly, I'll do that with you. I haven't shot around in a while. And
I'm not talking like Silver Creek street ball, but there's a park a couple blocks away from
we're not going to be swinging
Creek
bows
that no one goes to.
God, I haven't played a legitimate street ball game since I was in high school, and I don't think I'll be going back to that anytime soon, if I'm being honest.
Maybe after a couple months.
Yeah, maybe. God only knows, but we'll see what happens. We got a ton to talk about, though, and for wrestling fans, we will be talking a lot of wrestling today. Road Dogg has decided to walk away from the WWE amid rumors that he has been unhappy with the company, says that a lot of his friends backstage have not been treated well, and he doesn't like that. We all saw what happened in the whole Unreal situation when R-Truth was let go, not let go. We still don't know a full answer to this, and I don't think we ever will. But Road Dogg has decided that he will no longer be part of the creative team and will be walking away from the company. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? We're going to find out. I think a lot of internet fans right now are jumping with joy because they blame the creative team for a lot of the woes that we're seeing this year.
Yeah, I wonder what KG's thinking.
We'll talk. Oh, well, actually, we may not talk to KG on Tuesday because he will be at Disney, but he's going to try to join us. But I don't know. I think a lot of fans are underestimating how pivotal a guy like Road Dogg is to a writing room like that. And you guys all think that, it's that writing room that's the problem. Personally, I think it's the amount of eyes that they now have on the product. I don't think people really took into account that this is the most people have paid attention to professional wrestling ever. And if you have the internet long enough, the more eyes that are on you, the more haters that come with it, no matter if you're successful or if you're awful. In fact, the more success you have, traditionally, the more people hate on you just because they're jealous. Now, I'm not saying that's the case here. There's a lot of old school wrestling fans that are just very upset with the way things have been going. But
if anytime over the 80s all the way up until now, it's not wrestling without people critiquing and bashing. Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that.
You've said
it's obviously doing its job.
Yeah, you've said it on this show a million times. As long as we're talking about it, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And that's what Triple H thinks. Paul Levesque is most likely sitting there thinking, well, as much as I hate seeing one of my best friends walk out of the writing room, this is going to keep people talking about us for the next week.
Yeah,
So
I'm wondering who he's going to replace him with.
that is going to be the main question.
Maybe
Is
AJ.
That's a possibility. I hear rumors that they're still working out whatever position AJ is going to have. I am really holding out hope because I hear rumor that I was correct, that he may become the new general manager of NXT. Love that idea. Although I like what Mark Stone's been doing down there lately. I like him stepping into that role. But this just could be a great opportunity for somebody in the company to step up into that role and hopefully help the writing room win back over the fan base, because that really is what their main goal is right now, is to find a way to win the fans over, especially with WrestleMania 6 weeks away, and that is the biggest show of the year. If we see a botch at WrestleMania in Vegas this year, it it's going to be a rough 26 and possibly 27 for the
That's the
WWE.
timing that is which scratch my head is. All right, I can understand, not agreeing with everything that's going on in the
Right,
room, because that is one of those jobs that not everyone is going to agree with the direction that they go in.
right.
But I mean, 6 weeks before WrestleMania.
That's the weird thing. You're right. It just, you would assume that with the main show coming up, you'd be able to put aside your grievances at least until that show is over. But maybe it really is that bad. Maybe just the people he enjoys or his friends behind the scenes are treated that poorly right now. Because the change of regime more than likely came with a change of just, what's the word I'm looking for here? Tone, I guess, behind the scenes. When new leadership and new bosses, obviously you're not going to be able to run the company the way you used to, and maybe that's what he's against. Yeah, I could see it on his face during the Unreal or docu series, and whether that was real or not is still up in the air as well, as we've all known. But you could see it on his face that he wasn't very happy with the way things were going. He was very outwardly, or he was very vocal about how unhappy he was, especially during the R-Truth release. And he even said in the docuseries then he was a step away from walking away if they didn't bring R-Truth back. So I, again, didn't necessarily surprise me that he has been unhappy this whole time and put that aside to stay with the company. And with everybody on the internet doing nothing but talking smack about how they're
With the
running
writing.
this company and how the writing is, he's taking a brunt amount of the punishment because you are the most well-known writer in that room outside of maybe Paul Heyman.
Yeah, and it's got to be tough when you are in the business for that long. You have
Right.
these relationships, and then you have the power to be a part of the writing,
Right.
and it's got to be tough. I mean, that's where you have to kind of stay away from the relationship and
Mhm.
not get involved in, like he broke down in Untruth. Is like, I understand the business side of it, but sometimes it just hits home, and he was tearing up. And I mean, it's got to be a tough spot in that position.
And I know he's going to find a job somewhere else. I'm sure AEW or TNA or somebody's already reached out to this guy and said, "Hey, come on over." I mean, AEW has had a million former WWE guys behind the scenes to help them grow. Most of them end up leaving and coming back to the WWE because they can't stand the way that company is ran
Mhm.
either. But it sucks, at least in my opinion, to see a guy like Road Dogg, who is one of the most well known and beloved legends in the WWE ever, one of the most lyrically gifted people on the freaking planet, too. I mean, if you are an old school wrestling fan in general, you most likely grew up adoring Road Dogg at some point in your life, unless you're just a DX hater, in which the
Right.
heck are you listening to us for? Uh, but
We used to get into arguments with I was always WWF,
oh
like you could
yes,
tell, but my buddies growing up, we had some that were all WCW and hated on the DX thing. I'm like, dude, you gotta at least respect what they're trying to do,
oh 100%,
because at that time WWF was on its way out.
yes,
I mean, it was tanking.
and maybe this is just the next step of that. But again, I don't know if internet fans are really grasping how pivotal this is going to be in the next couple weeks. Because you're right, with him leaving 6 weeks away from WrestleMania, that's going to be huge. Because now, and I get that a lot of these storylines are usually switched within a week anyway. That's one less head in there that usually comes with most of the ideas, from what we understand. I'm interested to see how they come or they rally from this. And like you said earlier, who takes his seat?
I mean, personally, I know he's done a great job in NXT and the
Mhm.
Performance Center, but I would love to have the Heartbreak Kid back, just step into a bigger role in the
Yeah.
WWE, but I don't think it'll happen.
I don't know if it's out of the realm of possibility right now that he does step into it. I don't know if he wants to be a writer though. He could probably help Paul in terms of maybe booking the situation or finding out the bigger picture of a lot of these matches. But yeah, I don't know if he steps up into that role. We'll see, and we'll keep you guys abreast of who is going to be taking the spot of Road Dogg here at the WWE level. But I do think a lot of fans are happy, which I don't understand. I really don't. Like you guys, we talked about it with our guy KG. I love KG. You guys know this. We have him on every single week to talk wrestling, and he has been very negative the last couple of weeks. And I mean, I've highlighted it. Sparky's highlighted it. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. I think that there are things that could be better, granted, but I don't think it's that bad, especially for what we're getting and the injuries they're having to deal with and all the pivots they're having to make. I think they're doing a pretty dang good job.
And look at that roster, man.
Yeah,
I think, I mean, growing up in the 80s, these stories are so much better, but I totally agree with what you were saying. It's a bigger audience.
yes.
Now they've got social media in front of them 24 hours a day.
And
so
you're
there's
gonna have
there's no way in hell.
the hating
Exactly.
wrestling fans and the people who hate wrestling in general who just want to hate on it and pretend they know what they're talking about, but in all reality, they're just parroting. Yeah, Tom Brady, which we'll get into in a second as well, because Logan Paul is digging this ditch even deeper. And I
love it.
I love it too. But you sent me I didn't think that anything was really going to come from this, but you sent me the tweet, what, 2-3 days ago, of him calling out every NFL player, and then Le'Veon Bell saying, "I'll fight you." And then he retorted to that saying, "Oh, you're a retired NFL player. Of course you would want me. I'm a gold mine for you." It's like, Logan, if you're not legit about this, then just keep your mouth shut. Unless the WWE is telling you to do this on purpose, and then obviously do your job. But we'll get to that at a different time. I am sad to see Road Dogg go, but again, I don't think people on the internet are really considering what you're losing right now. We'll keep you updated on what will happen there. Plus, with WrestleMania just weeks away, obviously we're going to be kicking up the wrestling coverage here a lot. So if you're not into that, sorry, not sorry.
Well, the other really entertaining part of the year is Monday.
Yes.
Is the official NFL opening, free agency. Not only that, but the tampering. And, as soon 2 days in a row, as soon as we walk out after the show ends, a big trade or something happens.
Right after we get done talking about this guy too.
Back to back. And we had bets on yesterday, born and raised in Chicago, big Bears fan. And we talked about DJ Moore with him, and he thought, I don't think he's going anywhere. If anything, he might take a pay cut to stay. And within minutes of the show ending, DJ Moore gets traded to the Buffalo Bills. What do you think about this trade? And do you think it's a good fit?
No, it's a great fit, because people aren't really considering that Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator for the Panthers back in 2020, 2021, when DJ Moore was there and had some of his most productive years. So obviously this is a relationship they're hoping they can reignite and finally give Josh Allen his number one wide receiver. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if the Buffalo Bills aren't done here, and try to make a move for maybe Stephon again, bringing him back like we talked about yesterday as a wide receiver too. And then you can have DJ, Stephon, and Keon Coleman all in the same wide receiver room. I think that's a pretty good upgrade from what the Buffalo Bills have been working with the last couple of years. I think this is a great move because, one, you have a very talented quarterback. Two, you have a very talented wide receiver who's been wishing, or at least I shouldn't say wishing, because he does do the most he can with the teams that he is on. And he finally found a team where they were finding some success. Don't know if Ben Johnson just thinks he can get more out of the younger wide receivers they have. I know a lot of Chicago fans were curious why they even drafted Luther Burden to begin with when you had DJ Moore. They're pretty much the same player. This is more than likely just what they had planned. DJ's contract is coming up. They don't want to pay him big money yet, so they ship him off to a team that's willing to pay him.
They get a second rounder, and they trade him and a fifth rounder. And what I read out of Chicago after the trade was the amount of money he was due.
Yes.
It just didn't fit the offense that he was going to be in. So I can see them as well going after another receiver.
Right.
Just probably a younger, cheaper version.
And I, again, argue, as I did at the beginning of last season and really most of last season, DJ and Caleb never really felt like they figured each other out. There were still chemistry issues. There were still, there were plays during games where DJ would run the wrong route or Caleb would assume he's running one and he would run the other. So they were never really on the same page. Although again, you could text in, tighten me up, call me an idiot. It really doesn't matter to me. Personally, I just never saw that. I never saw the chemistry between a quarterback one and a wide receiver one, or at least that we're used to seeing. And I think that had something to do with it as well. I think Ben Johnson knew he could probably, or I'm sorry, he being Caleb, could probably link up more with a Luther Burden and a Rome Odunze than he could with DJ, because we've seen that he's got 2 years with DJ and they still haven't figured this out yet. So, like you just said, the money that he was going to get, much like the Stephon Diggs situation yesterday, didn't warrant them keeping him. And they knew they were going to get something out of it, at least worth it, if they traded him away. So I think this is a great move for the Bears. I think it's a solid move for the Bills as well. And the Bills, much like the Rams right now, should be in the F them picks situation. Your picks haven't really been hitting, so go get veterans that do. And if you have to give up your first rounder, second rounder, third rounder for the next couple years, it won't matter, because you need to maximize your success right now with Josh Allen before his contract is up. Because if you don't, by the time his contract is up again, there's a good possibility Josh Allen walks away, and then you have to hit the hard reset button, and you just wasted a whole decade of football because you couldn't get past the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bengals and get into that Super Bowl picture. So I think right now they need to be in the same boat as the Rams and just say, F all of our picks, let's go get somebody, instead of taking a shot at a young guy.
With the amount of big name receivers that not only are in free agency or about to start free agency, and we've talked about, this year's draft being very heavy with wide receivers, do you think a second round is a good trade for him?
For DJ? Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid value. And honestly, I think that's some are even saying they overpaid for him. That is a solid argument as well.
That's what I've been hearing.
Not to say that he's not a talented wide receiver, and obviously is the wide receiver one in Buffalo right now. But again, I make the comparison that Julio Jones went for a second round. He's not Julio. Now, again, Julio Jones was about a dozen years into his career, if not longer, and was facing the back end of it. And he didn't really play much when they traded him away. But still, with a DJ Moore situation, you probably could have got a third rounder instead. Maybe. You know what I mean? Like, you probably could have lowballed him a little bit.
That's probably another reason why they're like, yeah, jump on it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's much like I said about the CeeDee Lamb thing that I said the other day, although I understand why the Dallas Cowboys should trade away Pickens over CeeDee Lamb. Which one are you going to get the most for? And smart football teams know when to part ways with great players, because they can get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting a year and getting either little out of it or nothing at all.
Well, if it took a second round to get DJ Moore, say you're Dallas and you're shopping Pickens, you get in the first round for him?
At least.
Well, because I brought up Dallas just because I know we've talked a little bit about the Max Crosby, but report came out yesterday, late last night, that the Cowboys were almost, a signature away from locking in the Max Crosby trade last night. And reports say that the Raiders wanted 2 first rounders.
Yeah, they want. And
the Cowboys are like, nah.
They want a considerable surplus of picks and a player for Max. And it's honestly, it is worth it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if a lot of teams are willing to play that right now, especially Dallas, who's looking to retool this whole defense. I think somebody like Max Crosby would be great for them, but you'd also be facing a lot of the fan base that sits there and says, we had Micah and you just traded away everything we got for Micah for Max Crosby. How does that make sense? And to be fair, it really doesn't make sense.
You really just traded him straight up to the Vegas Raiders.
Right.
So.
And you've heard me say it personally. I think Max is better than Micah at the run game, or at least stopping the run and all overall. But there is a considerable argument here as to maybe that isn't the smartest trade, at least to win over a fan base. Now, on the opposite side of this coin, and this is why I genuinely believe the Raiders don't trade him, but Derek Carr brought up a very interesting point that I have been kind of trying to wrap my head around, but I haven't really like. There's a piece of me that believes that this just doesn't matter as much to teams anymore. Let's play the audio real quick. But this is what Derek had to say on their podcast the other day in regards to trading away Max Crosby and why he thinks the Raiders just shouldn't do it.
The people are saying it would
You can
take
trade Max Crosby?
Parsons level haul to get this guy, right? Let me explain why I don't think it's a great decision to trade Max. There's a few positions in the NFL every team on our list right here is looking for.
Yeah.
You gotta have a quarterback.
Yep.
You gotta have an offensive line.
Yes.
You gotta have a defensive line.
Right.
Gotta have them.
Yeah.
Okay. The Raiders have one of, if not the best, overall
Mhm.
defensive lineman, playing the run, playing the pass, disruptive, motor,
Everything.
aura, leader, heart and soul of your team. As soon as Max leaves your building, if you trade him,
Yeah.
as soon as he leaves your building, there's not only a hole in
It's
leadership.
a vacuum, a black hole.
There's not only a hole
you
in
will.
your heart and your soul of your football team.
Mhm.
There's a hole in your effort.
Yep.
There's a hole in your accountability.
Buddy.
There's a hole in your defensive end position.
Buddy. Dylan.
And so this is my long-winded version
Mhm.
of why I think it's a bad choice. And I didn't think I'd have to explain that.
Kind of crazy.
But in today's day and age, well, they would say, well, we have him and we're not playing as well. It's the Micah Parsons kind of thought, okay, I hear you, but he's also on a really nice contract.
Really nice contract.
So you just gave it to him.
Yep.
All I'm saying is you're not
Yeah.
just losing a defensive end if you trade him.
Right.
You're losing a lot of aspects of that building. If that's the route you want to go, that's your choice.
Yeah, it's not the route that they want to go. I don't
but,
think I think that they're just a team that wants to be better.
Yeah.
And they see this component that can be very valuable, obviously.
Yeah.
And I mean, is there a scenario where they can get 2 first-round picks for him? But like, even at that point, you don't know what you're getting with those first-round
I
picks.
don't know if they're going to hit.
So we've kind of said the same thing on this show without saying it word for word, but moving on from a guy like Max Crosby is not just moving on from a defensive end. It's moving on from your leader. It's moving on from the heart and soul. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't think the Raiders move on from him, because if you start the season next year without a Max Crosby, it's a different kind of rebuild or restart than you start with Max Crosby. So do you think he's got a point here? Because he said it himself, in today's NFL, I don't think teams really think about that anymore. It's more along the lines of, if you can't help us get to a Super Bowl, we don't want you.
Yeah. It's tough. I still think they trade him. I just think in Raider fashion, they find these guys, and I was surprised when they did it with Mac. And I think with teams like Chicago, Detroit, which I don't think Detroit has the salary cap to do it. I think if Vegas can get somebody to give up 2 first-rounders or a first-rounder and a prime premier player, the Raiders are going to jump on it.
Oh, yeah. But again, that's really
I don't think it's good
say no
or
to.
smart.
No, but because it's like David said at the end there, it's not like you're going to, but doesn't matter if you have the first round pick if it doesn't hit. And he's got a really good point there. Because again, Max wasn't a first round pick, and a lot of the first round picks don't work out like you think they will. So is it really valuable to trade Max away for 2 players that you really don't know if they're going to hit at all? And you lose your leader. You lose the heart and soul of the defense, because this defense would look vastly different if Max wasn't on it.
Yeah, we saw it.
So we'll talk more about this, and we'll keep you guys updated on what is to come for Max Crosby. I personally hope the Raiders don't make this move and we get to see him in black and gold next year. I'm sorry, black and silver. Black and gold. I'm stupid. That's the Saints. Black and silver. But in today's NFL, much like Derek Carr just said, people aren't really looking for the leadership thing anymore. They're more looking for production on the field, and if you can get them closer to a Super Bowl. And that might be a problem for a lot of these NFL teams, at least in my opinion. Let's take a break. We'll get into some of this other stuff. Logan Paul is stirring the pot once again, calling out all NFL players, saying he could pretty much beat up anybody in the NFL. Yes, this is stemming from Tom Brady calling wrestling cute, and it's furthering this entire internet rumor that Tom Brady might have something to do with WrestleMania in 6 weeks. Who knows? We'll talk about that after the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. This is one of the best covers. Between this and Disturbed's cover of
hate
Sound
that
of
song.
Silence. Really? I love
Yes.
that version. I love that version. Personally, again, Simon and Garfunkel are great, but it's Disturbed.
Yeah.
I can't say no to that one. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We're also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Feel free to join us as well on all social media platforms, including TikTok and Instagram. Before we get into this Logan Paul situation, because we could also talk about that with the guy Chris Flail, who'll be joining us at 8 o'clock. I want to get into the World Baseball Classic a little bit. We will see America start their journey to a championship today as we take on Brazil at 5 o'clock. I believe that's on Fox, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, we hear so much about our team. We hear so much about Japan's team, obviously, with Shohei Ohtani and half the Dodgers roster on Japan's team. But I don't think people are really talking about the Dominican Republic, who are absolutely stacked. I mean, we think our roster is deep, which it is. Don't get me wrong. We got Bobby Witt Jr., we got Bryce Harper, we got Kyle Schwarber, we got Aaron Judge. I mean, the list goes on. We got Gunnar. I mean, you got Roman Anthony on the bench. Like, we got a ton. Don't get me wrong. We got Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, knocking out home runs every day. But the Dominican Republic also has a pretty dang stacked team, led by Albert Pujols as a manager. You got Vladdy Guerrero Jr., you got Manny Machado, Ketel Marte, Junior Caminero. I do not believe Jeremy Pena will be playing. I believe he fractured his finger, so that is a positive at least. They got Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, and Julio Rodriguez out in the outfield, not to mention O'Neal Cruz. I mean, this team is stacked.
Yeah, they're going to be tough.
Luckily, they're in a completely different, pool than us right now. We'll probably see them later on. I would assume either we'll have to face them before Japan or in the finals if they beat Japan. But this is what manager Albert Pujols had to say about this team. He's calling them a dream team.
Obviously, the energy is going to come along. I think the last couple of exhibition games that we play in the DR, people were really excited. And then that's going to come over here and transfer to that. I think people love baseball here, especially, all the Latin community. And to have this opportunity to have it around here in the finals is pretty amazing. So I'm really excited. I never had the opportunity to have it around here in Miami, but I was in Puerto Rico in 2006 in San Diego, and it was pretty electric. And I'm blessed to have the opportunity now to be the manager of this ball club, and I'm trying to have a great time. As a manager, it's a dream team. There's no ego, in the clubhouse, and everybody knows where they can hit. And I think at the end of the day, is really represent the Dominican Republic, that jersey that they're wearing, and not the last name that they represent.
This is going to be one of the most entertaining World Baseball Classics we have ever seen. I cannot wait to see what the final looks like. And again, I'm still going to sit here and say the U.S. takes the whole dang shebang. We got Captain America. We got the big dumper. We've got plenty. We got Paul Skeens throwing absolute pistol. Just it's going to be great. It really is. But do you think that we should be worried about the DR a little bit here? This is a team that not a lot of people are talking about for some reason. I know they're referred to as a juggernaut for people who know what they're talking about. And personally, I just think that not a lot of people paying attention to them is a good thing for them, because if Vladdy can get hot, as we saw in the playoffs last season, if your boy Julio can go off, they could be one of those teams that really takes out somebody massive, like a Japan.
That's the
or
only
a
team.
US.
Him and them and Japan are the ones I've been worried about.
Mhm.
And
Mexico seems to have a pretty solid team as well.
I think we should be in the championship, the finals.
Yes.
And I just want to know which one is going to be against.
Yeah.
Because I know, and these teams are going to get better and better.
That's what I'm saying. And I really hope nothing major happens in terms of injury out of this, because it will derail somebody's baseball season. I just can't wait to see it as well. we have this game today against Brazil. Should be an easy walkover for the U.S. Saturday's game against Great Britain will be the one that Scuba will be playing.
And that's it, right, for him?
Yeah, 55 pitches, and that's it for him, apparently. And again, that's not Scooble's idea for people who are upset with him. That is not something that he wants. That's something his agent is telling him to do, which I think a lot of people need to realize as well, is that there are a lot of business decisions that get made when it comes to tournaments like this. If Tariq Scooble had anything to say about it, I'm sure he'd be starting every single game for the US team. But unfortunately, yes, we will only see him one time in this entire classic for 55 pitches, which is maybe what, 4 innings?
Yeah, Drake Toll said he should be able to finish that game in 55 pitches.
It's probably true.
Okay.
It's probably true. It's Great Britain. I'm
That's
not
what he
expecting
says.
much from Great Britain. Honestly, he might be going back to back to back 9 pitch innings, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of somebody that big only being available for one game. I get why fans are upset about that. If you're not going to allow him to be a part of the team for the entirety of this, don't let him be on the team.
Right. And I know there's a few other players that have some time and some options to
Right.
only play a couple games and get back to spring training.
I was going to say, I've heard Paul Skeens is one of those guys that may only see the field twice. That's fine. We'll only really need him for 2, because I think if I remember what Jeff Passan said correctly, you really only have 7 games here. So if it's a traditional 5 pitcher rotation, you'll only need Paul twice.
And where are these games played at?
All over the place. It's all over. I mean, I think if I read correctly, Pool D is in Miami, Pool C is in Tokyo, Pool B is in Houston, and then Pool A is in San Juan.
Okay.
So America will be playing in Houston along with the rest of Pool B.
Texas.
Yes. But I think the final gets bounced around. I'm not 100% sure on where the final is yet. But again, we'll keep you guys updated on all things U.S. baseball as we wait for the finals. And I'm telling you, this is going to be the most entertaining World Baseball Classic we have seen in quite some time. I really wish Mike Trout was still part of this team.
Me too.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out this year. But I think with everything going on, the team will still somewhat recognize that Mike was at least on the roster for a little bit there, and probably should still be. I love Roman Anthony, but let's be honest, that spot should be for Mike Trout. It really should. But again, I get it. Spring training is here. You got to focus on the regular season and hopefully winning championships. Not that the Angels are any closer to doing that. I mean, hey, here we are. Let's take a break, my friend. We ran late the last one, so we'll take an earlier one this time, and then we'll get into Logan Paul and this entire situation between him and the NFL. And we had some interesting news out of the Jason Tatum situation. He might actually play today. I'm shocked. I did not think that we were going to see Jason Tatum until the playoffs.
If that,
exactly. And we have to consider that this might actually be a bad thing for the Boston Celtics. A lot of people are saying this, him coming back, putting himself into the rotation of a team that has kind of figured itself out without him. How is he going to fit into this entire rotation? Is he going to help the team? Is it going to hinder the team? We'll let you know our thoughts on the other side, plus much more. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Uh, I'm telling you, I don't think you guys realize how much you're gonna miss Road Dogg here in about a month. And Tommy got in the chat on YouTube, and you guys should go to YouTube and join Tommy because the conversation gets very interesting. But Tommy brings up a good point though. With Road Dogg leaving, maybe the WWE gets Bully Ray and puts him in that seat. He does have a lot of very good ideas. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull him away from Busted Open and Dave LaGreca, but that wouldn't be the worst guy to really sit down in that seat and get a fresh pair of ears and eyes in on this writing room and hopefully turn it around for some of the fans online. I still don't think you're going to get everybody to be happy, though.
Anyone but Goldberg.
Yeah, no. Keep Goldberg far, far away. If Goldberg became a writer, Gunther would never lose a match. Are you kidding? Oh, God. Let's shift, though, to a little bit of basketball before we hit Logan Paul, because Logan Paul is stirring the pot with this whole wrestling is cute situation, as he called out literally every NFL player yesterday and got a considerable amount of players actually tweeting back saying, I'll whoop you and your brother at the same time. That was a pretty interesting one. And I can't necessarily say they're wrong at this point because, well, Logan hasn't been in a legitimate fight in years. But basketball is getting interesting. Obviously, the playoffs are right around the corner, but from what we understand is Jason Tatum is making a return well before anybody expected him to. He might even play tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. This is going to be interesting because I don't think that this is going to benefit like he thinks it is. I know that he's had concerns about this. We've talked about it a couple weeks ago when I told you guys that he could be back for the playoffs at earliest, but the chemistry that the Boston Celtics have been able to create right now has been pretty impressive. Not a lot of people expected them to be this competitive in the East, let alone competitive in the NBA this year without their star player in Jason Tatum. And I don't know if Brown should be taking that as a little bit of an insult. I think he should, because this guy's been an all-star himself since he got there, really, and was given the ball. But with Tatum coming in, the main question that everybody has been talking about for weeks is how this is going to change the Boston Celtics chemistry going into what is the most pivotal time in the NBA, because you need to win every game from here on out to really gain a playoff edge and win that home court advantage. Now, the Boston Celtics are in the top part of the East right now, so they really don't have to worry about losing it. But do you think Jason Tatum coming back this early will stunt their growth in a way? Because there are people, including Shaq and Charles Barkley, who even said he should just wait until next year altogether and let this team do what they're doing.
It is tough, man, especially for the team. I mean, the guy has fought back and he dealt with the injury before the injury. And if you watch that injury in the last year playoffs, I mean, it was tough to see. But I mean, this kid is a baller, man. And I think this is, if he's going to come back, I think this is the perfect time. Give them some time before the playoffs to get back into a groove. And, everybody was writing off, including me, writing off Boston.
Oh, yeah.
And when we were talking about going into this season, and Boston has held their own. And I am a total anti-Celtics guy. I'm a Bulls fan. I don't root for any team out of Boston, but I will say they're going to be tough. If Tatum can get back in under his legs and get back into a groove, I mean, Boston could be tough, man.
That's the thing, is I don't know if they beat teams like the Knicks without Jason.
Exactly.
And I know everybody's worried about the chemistry of him coming back, and rightfully so, because honestly, I was kind of in the same boat. If Boston is good without him, they should just let them be good without him and see what they can do. But the more and more I think about it, the matchups you're going to have to deal with, Jalen Brunson from Brunson to, Bridges, Cat, you're going to need a guy like Jason Tatum on the court just to thin out their defense, which has been stellar with head coach Mike Brown. And as much as I want to say that Boston can win it without him, I don't think they can. I think that they've been impressive this season without him. Obviously, not a lot of people, including both of us, because I won't put you alone in that situation. I didn't expect much from Boston this year without Jason. But at this point, I don't think they could win a championship without him. I think people forget how good this guy is on the court and how much he stepped up in major games and in major times for Boston down the stretch in order for them to win big games and take leads in series. So I don't know if they can really make a push without Jason.
Do you think they can get by teams? Say Tatum is 80% of what we're used to.
Right.
Do you think they're good enough to get by, not only the Knicks, but teams like Cleveland or even Detroit?
You could probably get by Detroit just because of the youth and inexperience that Detroit has. I like what I've seen from them so far this season, but I'm not in the same boat as our guy Snacks. I don't think they make a push for the finals this year. Again, with Jason, you have a shot to beat teams like Cleveland and the Knicks, 100%. Is it a for sure? No. Because again, like you just said, you're probably getting Jason back at an 80, 85% clip. I don't think he's going to be 100% Jason Tatum just yet. So with him on the court, I think the probability jumps up from what would you say, like an 80, 20% there to probably around a 60, 40. There's definitely a bigger chance of you winning.
I mean,
But
give him a month.
I know, but with Cleveland having guys like James Harden now, who, again, as much as I don't care for him and don't think that it's going to be that move for Cleveland that's going to get them to the finals either, he's still somebody that you have to considerably pay attention to every single second of a basketball game. So that's going to be another guy, much like we talk about with the matchups with the Knicks. You're going to have a lot of talent against you in these 7-game series. If you don't have the same level of talent, you're not going to beat them. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to sit here and say they'll get out coached, because I think Boston has the edge in coaching when you talk about some of these top teams in the East. But again, without all of your talent there, I don't know if you get past teams like Cleveland or the Knicks. Detroit probably still give you a shot there, along with most of the play-in teams, because the East is the East, let's be honest. But when you really look at the bigger picture, you need the team that's going to be able to beat the Knicks and the Cavs. Don't know if you have that without Jason Tatum. That's the big thing to me. And before we run out of time here, the Knicks are obviously back in the news as well, after Mike Brown had some interesting comments to say about SGA after their game the other day, where he pretty much called out SGA for flopping. Let's hear from Mike.
SGA he's a tough cover, and he does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anybody in the league, that he's getting hit, and them shooting 84% from the free throw line compared to our 73% was a factor.
I love this comment coming from Mike Brown, though, because it's kind of ironic, being the man who coached LeBron James in his early years when he really became LaFlop, let's be honest. But he's not necessarily wrong.
I was just gonna say
SGA
that,
has
man.
figured out a way to really sell it.
I think his style of basketball, it just fits in perfectly with how officiating calls games.
Right. But again, is that not how star players
technique,
usually rule the league?
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, and again, not calling Kobe a flopper, but Kobe had ways to get fouls easily.
So did Jordan.
Yep. I mean, Paul Pierce was so good at the pump fake leaning into people that they had to make a rule against it.
Right.
So
It's the strategy.
exactly, just part of the game. So can they really be upset with SGA for just knowing how to draw fouls?
And coming as a Knicks coach, you don't think Brunson gets that either?
Oh my God. I mean, again, it's the star player effect. Cat gets a lot of calls as well.
But Brunson's a king of it, man.
Oh, he is. But Brunson also does a really good job at powering through a lot of those. Not that SGA doesn't, but it's just funny to me that now all of the negative things that we usually hear about guys like LeBron are now starting to spread to everybody else.
Yeah, they watched it growing up, and they've learned it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I would say the same thing as SGA The only thing that's different is SGA has done it so well that he turns it into 3-point plays.
Yes, 100%. But see, and I think basketball gets so much grief for this lately, but this is really becoming a thing across all sports. Hockey specifically has kind of started to lean into this. The European game for sure has really pumped this up, but getting people to call fouls, it's part of the game. Being able to sell some stuff and just make it look worse. I think everybody kind of learned from soccer in that regard. Being honest about it, but I think this is just part of the game. I don't think Mike Brown should really be complaining to the media about it, but they're going to, obviously. And I think he sees the writing on the wall as well, is that if we see this team in the finals and he continues to get 8 to 10 calls a game,
You got a problem.
oh yeah, half of my guys are going to be fouled out by the third quarter. So I guess unless you highlight it, it's not going to get changed. Squeaky oil gets the wheel and all that. Let's take a break. On the other side, we will talk to our friend Chris Flail, local comedian, talk all things wrestling. We'll get into this Logan Paul situation. Not only did he call out most NFL players saying he can beat them up, but he actually defended LA Knight the other day for the botch that we were all talking about on Tuesday. I kind of like that. I kind of like that Logan's defending his fellow wrestlers. We'll talk about that and much more. This is the Early Bird Special. We'll be back in about 5. See, I don't think you guys realize this either, how much you're going to love this man in about 2 months.
I already do.
Danhausen is I can't say the word I want to. There will be videos coming on YouTube where we can actually format this the way we would like to say it. But
Just waiting for
Danhausen
Flail.
is just
Thank you for having me on the show. How's it?
I'm
oh my
looking
God,
forward to
dude.
a Flailhausen riddle.
I have never gone from disdain for a human being to immediate love so quickly in my whole life.
telling
How's
you.
it?
Everybody on Saturday while watching Elimination Chamber texted me saying, "Who the F is this? This is the lamest thing ever." And like they hated him. They hated him. And I was like, just give it a second. Like, just wait.
My Danhausen shirt will not arrive until March
I told you.
17th.
I need a Danhausen shirt as well.
However, I had a cape delivered to the doorstep
Yes.
yesterday.
Do we have the face paint too?
I don't have
Now,
the face paint.
Mind you, you're gonna have to change it a little bit though, because there is copyright on that.
I
face
saw
paint.
that. He trademarked it.
He
I do
trademarked
not
it.
have the face paint. I'm going to do a test pilot skit and see if that works, because the only thing I don't want is to spend an hour and a half doing the face paint for something that gets 130 views.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want to have to archive a skit that I spent 4 hours in makeup on.
Oh man, I don't know if we injured him, but Chris Flail is here.
Yeah.
It's Flail Friday.
Always good to be here with you boys.
Good to see you, my friend. I don't know where we want to start today though, because there's a ton we could talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to start with Cal State.
I was actually going to bring
Oh,
this up too, if
man.
we should even talk about this at all. I know we had brought it up when it initially broke a couple weeks ago or
So-
months ago.
Are we talking about the basketball?
Yes.
Thing?
Which side of it? I mean, really, because I'm a big fan of Coach Weidman, the women's basketball
Yes.
coach, and news came out last night that she's been on administrative leave,
Yep.
which no details,
I don't know anything about that.
but I will just say, unless something crazy, I'm a big Ari fan. So she's been on the show.
Yep.
She's a superstar. So I'm just hoping nothing crazy happened or is going on.
Until
But
further notice, we ride with her.
we usually stay away from local stuff, especially because Greg Kerr is live every day right here
he's the
from
king
noon
of
to
it.
2. So we try not to step on toes. But once it hit the networks, I'm like,
I mean,
now we can't just not talk about it.
ESPN and TMZ
Yeah.
picked up the story about the men's side of everything with oh Lord, the former coach, former player.
Mays.
Yeah, Kevin Mays. And I again, we talked about it briefly when it first initially broke a couple months ago, but this is not a good look for
No,
CSUB
now
at
details
all.
are coming out within like
Although
4 or 5
it's-
states.
They did kind of get some of it wrong, though, from what Kyle Kerr was telling me yesterday. The ESPN kind of formatted it, making it sound like one of the whistleblowers was not part of it, but also not the one that helped end it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the story
Like,
I read on ESPN was that the somebody had reached out to our former head coach
yes.
and said, do something about this or we're going to release it all to the public.
Right.
Which we ended up losing both sides of it. But I mean, it's just
If-
a sad story.
Yeah, if accurate, absolutely horrible and tragic, and your heart goes out to any victims on this. And with that said, I've had this deal for years. I ask you and the viewers, do I have permission to be funny about this?
Of course.
I got no issue with it, to be honest.
Permission to speak funny.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
So I've got a group chat for people around the country, of guys around the country, my best friends who were professional and semi-professional baseball players.
Mm.
And I was a semi-professional nothing. I found myself a great basketball player that never really, I couldn't have sniffed the court at CSUB to play basketball there. I was good in my day, but not good enough to do anything. And it hurts me, to be honest.
Yep.
It was my first love that broke
Same
my
here.
heart.
Yep.
And every now and then, every couple of days, these guys get all cocky and talk about their glory days and talk about baseball practice and all their fun that they had and the games and the big achievements that they did and all these wonderful things. So yesterday, I sent the article of that man on ESPN with the big pimping allegations. And I said, I just clipped it and I said, so what are you punks up to at Oklahoma City College? Because this is what we're doing in our universities out here.
right.
Let's hear about your glory days at Purdue. You got nothing on us.
It's got to hurt the university because not only were we already dealing with being a smaller college with not enough really money to bring
Nope.
in the talent, and I think this is just gonna it's gonna
make it
hurt.
worse. It's going to make it so much harder for you to really pull a lot of these athletes over, especially in the women's sports area.
Well, and we have a very underrated, undervalued city that is an easy punchline, thanks to Johnny Carson, who did it because he bombed out here at the old casino because he couldn't hack it as a comedian. I've been slugging it in the trenches out here for 12 years. And that's why but anytime we make national, regional news, as soon as you see Bakersfield, you pop up, you go, oh no.
Like, we're the Florida of California.
The Kevin Mays thing, apparently we had a 911 operator getting heat.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
That one was weird too. I mean, we talked about that on the JR show on our sister station of Kern. And
This is the rude one, right?
yes, but apparently the allegations to that were actually from a couple years ago. And they released the audio of the call, and it really wasn't as bad as the lady was making it sound.
And not at all. But you know what? Give us all the bad press you want. I've said this before. We're the best kept secret in California, and we don't want people moving in. So think what you want to think about us. Mr. Producer, my friend, play Jay-Z and Bun B, Big Pimpin', if you would, please. Just kick it up.
That's not gonna happen.
Let's just do it. I don't want any travel guides sending people this way. Blast Big Pimpin' for everyone to hear.
Look, man, this entire situation, again, like we said, it's just not making the college look any better. I covered CSUB for 3-4 years while I was out there.
Yeah.
These are good athletes. It always makes me, I have always scratched my head on how we can't get most of the athletes that are from here to stay here, especially the ones that aren't getting big offers from other schools. But with stories like this, it's kind of hard to really convince any athlete to come here.
Yeah, well, and it looked like, I didn't know, I haven't followed the team this year, but it looked like the record's been pretty rough. One of the roughest.
It has not been a very good season for either side.
I mean, and easily explainable. It seems like there may be a couple distractions going on in campus.
A little bit.
To put them back together. But what if we hear like, wow, recruiting class is really big this year?
Everybody wants to come.
A lot of fellas reaching out to do a visit.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I just wanted to get it through. We talked about it. Now let's just move on, because I know we've got all sorts of stuff to talk about. Do you want to get into this Logan thing?
Yeah, let's play the audio real quick because we haven't gotten a chance to. We've talked about it with you before, but Logan Paul and Tom Brady went viral a couple weeks ago when Tom Brady called wrestling cute. This most recent episode, I believe, of Impulsive, he sat down and had these comments to say about all NFL players who have really kind of been putting their 2 cents into this entire situation. So let's hear from Logan real quick.
I would throttle Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, I will bet you why did we choose him? It could be any name, but any football player. Myles Garrett, Puka Nacua, Tom Brady, I don't even know.
Don't even try calling out Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
No, don't do it, bro.
Doesn't matter. $1 million. $1 million. You come to the gym, we put on boxing gloves, we see how it goes. Not a single one. Like, it's this level of shit.
Chad Ochocinco?
Oh, stop. I will throw hands with any of you.
I love Logan Paul for the sole ability to just create hate with everything that he does. But this is a tall order. He's going to get his butt kicked by somebody.
By Myles Garrett, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
I would say he's right.
Myles is literally speeding from Ohio all the way to LA just to fight the guy.
I would say he's right about all of the other ones, though. As crazy as that sounds.
I don't know, dude. Well, Puka Nacua is huge.
But you know that you have a boxing background. How many big athletic guys have you seen that they walk into a gym and you go, oh, wow, that looks like a world beater. And you see him on a heavy bag and it is very clear.
Yeah, I don't know. One shot from Myles Garrett.
I'm going Logan, dude. I think Logan has been trained on that side.
His brother already did this.
Yeah,
true.
His brother fought the professional athletes. What did he fight? Nate Robinson. I can't remember if he fought a football player.
Logan has fought. Well, no, Logan. Yeah, no, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I think Logan only fought Floyd, and that's pretty much it, right?
I would take Logan over all the guys he listed. Personally, I just think his background is training, and he's
Logan
not a small
big,
guy.
but he's not a Myles Garrett big.
Which, by the way,
when you look it up, I mean, I saw him standing next to the Undertaker. I've seen him stand by guys like Braun Breaker, and I mean, he's not a small dude.
He's gained about 40 pounds this year. I said this to my fiance Monday when Logan came out. I said he's going to need a new heart in about 5 years if these arms get any bigger.
Right. So, okay, Logan Paul is 6'2", 220. Miles Garrett is 6'4", 272.
Yeah,
He's 50 pounds heavier.
they don't make. There's certain human beings and NFL defensive ends are just in a whole. It's like in the NBA, they put centers in their own category and don't judge them amongst the greatest of the greatest.
Right.
NFL defensive ends are athletic freaks of nature that you just have to put on their own as a whole other thing. And then the rest of them, Logan Paul can probably beat,
actually,
including maybe Ocho Cinco. Logan Paul would actually be a fun boxing match.
I think
to
it was
watch.
boxing.
that would be great. No, it is boxing.
If
It's
it was
100%
boxing,
boxing.
I'm going Logan. If
It-
it was MMA or anything like that, I would probably lean towards the Miles Garrett's.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. But no, it is 1000% boxing. He's not talking about anything besides that. And actually, now looking at this, I didn't realize this, but he's actually 10 pounds heavier than Puka.
Yeah.
They're both 6'2". Puka's 212.
Well,
I don't
and
think
that-
Puka's stupid enough to get in the ring. 'cause
Yeah, I don't
think he's
know,
getting
man.
knocked out.
He's been hanging out with Aiden Ross lately. I think he's stupid enough to
Charlotte.
do anything.
Well, and that 220, that Logan Paul 220 is before what I suspect allegedly is this last round of moon juice that's taking him up
Yeah.
to about
Yes.
2,020 pounds.
He is a big boy.
He
He's bigger
is.
every week. Every week he's bigger than another member of the Vision except Paul Heyman. It's incredible.
Speaking of the Vision, because this is something we didn't get to talk about on Tuesday.
Sorry.
No, that was good.
That's
That
cold,
was
man.
really
That's
good.
cold.
Look, man, he's the
That's
WWE's version of the Penguin.
recovering,
Just let
man.
it happen.
I said play Big Pimpin' after the CSU Bakersfield thing, and you put your head down for a Paul Heyman
I
fat
know.
joke. We're cooking, guys. Come
We
on.
are cooking today. Oh, am I the only one though? Since we've been talking wrestling in the Vision, should they stop handing the mic to Austin Theory?
Yes. Yes.
So this is now like the second or third time that Paul Heyman has tried to like bequeath the mic to Austin Theory like he used to do with Roman and say, here, say your speech, as if he had something incredible planned.
Yeah.
And then it's just, oh yeah, I'm the pressure.
I gotta
Logan,
ask
say
you guys.
this. Like,
I got to ask you guys because I can't articulate it myself. What is it about him that produces this uncanny valley? Because on paper, he's got everything you want in a
Yes.
superstar, but some about the combination and presentation of it, I look at it and I go, I don't like it, and it's either missing something or it has an extra something that makes me queasy to watch.
Yeah, he's creepy.
you think it's creepy? I
think he's just
personally,
creepy.
I think that he is going through the same thing that a lot of other wrestlers go through until they finally figure it out. It's not authentic.
Mhm.
I think at the core of it, we all know this isn't really who he is. As much as he would like to say this is, I think there is a legitimate inauthenticity that is coming from this.
Yeah.
That's why the pressure hasn't caught on.
I think
at
that's why
all.
Logan has looked so good within
Yes.
the Vision because
he's authentic.
he's authentic. And you know what really helped that Vision was when Seth was there because he's so great on the mic. And when he left with whether what is the injury or what, and Braun was just getting under his feet, with promos and then the injuries, even with Bronson Reed, I love the guy as a wrestler, but he just doesn't have that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say it, but once Austin figures it out of who he actually is as a wrestler, he's going to go off. He's going to be one of the best ones in the company. But there's just something about every character that he's had so far that just doesn't feel authentic. Even when he was with Grayson Waller, there was just a level to it that just didn't seem right.
He's just too crisp.
Yes.
Everything is too crisp. He
He's
looks
one of the
too-
best sellers in the entire company.
He's great. He does everything great. Even the new pistols behind his head thing for anybody else should be like, that's a cool move. But I see him doing, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
There's always weird stuff. I see the same thing with like the machine gun guys.
Yeah, machine
I'm like,
gun.
keep the
Which
mics away from
they
them.
have been MIA for the last couple of months as well. I'm shocked at that. I know they've been at AAA for a couple weeks, just mixing it up with their tag teams, but they really haven't done anything down there either. It's weird.
That's
Like,
strange.
well, I shouldn't say it's weird. We've talked about it on the show. Their roster is just so deep that there really has not been a lane for a lot of these.
There's
great
a certain
wrestlers.
wrestlers that you just keep the mic away from
Yes,
There
until they get the correct practice
Well,
or whatever
I just
training.
feel like they keep like springing it on him. Like he has nothing to say and he's just sitting there looking all badass. And then Heyman's just like, here, Austin, tell them why you're the pressure. And then he
that's what I was just gonna say.
Nothing to say.
Even his nickname is, you could tell the greatest wrestling devious mind and maybe the history of the company is like, God, he's given himself 5 incredible nicknames, and he's like, I don't know, you're the pressure.
Right.
Here,
The pressure.
just give me a breather for a second.
It doesn't fit, and I just feel like there's just a level of inauthenticity to it.
Yeah, it just misses it, and it's weird. It's just it's like too perfect, too symmetrical. Like I said, we love Danhausen in 6 days.
Yes.
He looks
Because
like
again, though,
he looks like a creepy Count Chocula.
He knows.
Yes,
He does. Actually, that's a great way to
It's
put it.
a real
Count.
Count Chocula-fied, and I already bought a Danhausen Fanhausen shirt. Austin
Love
Theory, I can't get with anything on it.
I just go back to authenticity. I think it's because Danhausen has been Danhausen since 13 years ago, since he started. He knows what type of wrestler he is. He knows what works. So it just kind of works for him. And honestly, Austin Theory could potentially go the comedy route if he wanted to. And it might even be better.
You better hurry.
He had his in. The going through the door that didn't work, he had his in, and they went away from it.
Yeah.
He could have,
that's
they
true.
could have sold T-shirts about "Let Me Out" or something, and he
Yeah.
didn't do. Can I by the way go conspiracy Christopher for a little minute just to talk about Monday night? By the
Sure.
way, Monday Night Raw this past week from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. was the most Attitude Era 12 hours we have seen in 15 years.
Mhm.
Between the Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley tweets and the whole opening.
Mhm.
And it almost made me wonder, is that old man poking around in the back?
There was, well, I mean, we laugh about it, but there was rumor that he was trying to buy back into WWE through TKO, through some Saudi Arabian partners.
You guys were talking about Road Dogg being gone, and all. I hear it like, is that old man poking around and giving his input and having someone listen to it again?
I argue that potentially they never stopped.
Could be,
because who's his son-in-law? I mean, again, you're going to sit there and tell me that Paul has never had a conversation with Vince since he left the company.
Now there's we will probably never see him. They will probably never, if so, they will probably never address it or actively point him out. But the way I think that we'll know is if sometime in the next 6 to 12 months, that Titantron lights up and we hear, "Must be the money."
Oh my God.
If he comes back, we know
No
Vince
Chance
is back.
in Hell hits.
Yeah, that's the Vince I like.
Well, actually, it's funny I bring that up too, because I did cut a hotkey for us that is the No Chance in Hell song. But I agree. I mean, there's got to be somebody on the outside that's peeking their head in there, because I find it very hard to believe that he has nothing to do with the product right now.
I mean, Paul Heyman attacked and hospitalized, and then the very next match, Gunther is attacked by his opponent at the Titantron before. Like that is the Attitude Era. In it was almost like saying, okay, we got through the early stages of this family-fied Netflix deal. We're all settled. For all of you kiddos that don't know what we're talking about when we're talking about the Attitude, DX, Stone Cold, Rock era, take a look at the next 4.5 minutes. This is what we mean.
Right.
Bang.
What do you think about the whole CM Punk Roman standoff?
I thought it was, so I think it's interesting. I think it kind of, unless they're taking it somewhere with CM Punk's character where he's going to go dark or something like that. I didn't understand the bringing up Roman's dad thing, unless they're trying to do some crossover angle, because Roman was bringing up Cody's dad for last WrestleMania. So I don't know, but I am liking those flashbacks to the pipe bomb.
The pipe bomb was great.
That they keep showing. They released like a 15-second clip on their socials. I don't know if you saw that the other day.
I missed that one.
They did like a 3-second clip of the pipe bomb on Raw, and then they did a 15-second clip that was flashing back to the original pipe bomb and this new CM Punk pipe bomb. And he said, "I was a Paul Heyman guy," and I'll tell you who else was a Paul Heyman guy: Roman Reigns. So it seems like they're working something.
It wouldn't surprise me, but again, I think the dad line was just solely to create heat. I mean, I talked about it the other day on Tuesday when we were bringing this up, but when you talk about the Samoan bloodline and just Samoan people in general, you don't talk about family.
Dude.
And that's the
game of the week, because
way.
I've heard from almost every person on that family tree on interviews, podcasts.
And CM Punk is excommunicado.
What
He
if
is
this
no
is-
longer a part of the Samoan bloodline?
What if this is a way to get back Dwayne for SummerSlam or something like
It's
that?
possible. Again, there will always be that in the back of people's mind is when's the next time we're going to see The Rock, especially after the last face-off between him and Cody.
And from one bald fraud to another, I'd love to see him. I don't know how you guys feel.
So I want to ask
I don't need
you
to see him at Mania again.
who attacked Uso, in
Yeah.
which he seems fine. I would just say.
Oh yeah.
He did get.
There's no reason for the crutches, but
No
okay.
kidding, he just threw the crutches in there as if he needed them, and then he just slides into the ring and
Just
starts
the
walking
kick and
like
everything. I was
nothing.
like, okay, nice sell.
They're gonna,
batter up, baby.
they're gonna have to get different color hoodies for the masked men to try to keep up with all of them. Which, by the way, I love what's going on. If what I think is happening is happening, I don't mean to.
No, go
deflect
ahead.
and do the weave on. So when we saw on SmackDown the masked man get revealed, I was like, oh no, that sucks. Unless what they're doing, what it looks like to me, what they revealed on the pay-per-view is, I hope they do it this way. I hope what they're doing, what I see is Fight Club Project Mayhem, where Seth just has dozens of nameless, faceless
The
minions
Foot Clan.
that he's trained over the years to
That's a good
produce
idea.
anarchy and run roughshod through the thing. If they do this Project Mayhem style, what I would have loved to have seen on the pay-per-view is instead of 2 guys get taken away and then Seth come out, I would have loved to have seen 30 masked men attack Logan.
Yes.
They all split except one, and that is Seth.
No, that's
that was Becky.
yeah.
I mean, we've seen it.
Great.
I'm the
She's
best
done it.
masked
That's a
man
good
in the world,
idea.
and it's
She's
not just
done
me
it.
saying it.
Yes.
Tyler Durden saying it.
Bleacher Report.
That's a great idea. I didn't consider that. And all of these guys that are the masked men are his students at his wrestling school, apparently, from what is being reported.
Mhm.
So it could be a cool way for him to get all of those guys, rubbing shoulders with the actual company and potentially new wrestlers into NXT and Evolve and all these other places too. So
settling
I like
scores.
that. I like that idea. I never really considered that, especially his own Foot Clan.
Yep.
That's cool.
Hey,
That's a really cool idea.
I heard there was an opening in the writer's room, and I came in with ideas today.
No kidding. Maybe he's listening today. Who knows? This entire story about Jey Uso getting jumped, though, who do you think it is? Because personally, I have my theory, but I don't know if they're going to go this
I don't
route.
have a good thought one way or another. I'd love to hear yours.
So personally, I said this on Tuesday. I think it was Sammy. I think it was Sami Zayn.
Ooh, that's fun.
And the reason I think it was Sammy was because of the promo we saw last Friday, which I'm sure they'll, follow up on this or today, I should say. He acted kind of out of character when he's talking to Jacob. At first, he was trying to play the sympathy card like he always does, saying, I got screwed over too. I should be in this match, blah, 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 blah. And then Jacob threw it right back in his face and said, hell no. He was helping you, if anything. Like, I got Claymored.
that's
Cody got
right.
Claymored. You didn't. He wants you. He doesn't want us.
That's right.
And then Sammy, after Jacob walks away, flips out, starts flipping out tables and looking all distressed. I think he's doing that because he just realized I took out my brother to potentially get another shot at being in the chamber and getting a shot at this title. And now I did it for nothing.
Who else was in that? Do you remember who else was in that Elimination Chamber qualifier that Jey Uso won?
It was Bronson Reed and, oh God, who was the third? I can't even remember who the
I
third
can't
was.
remember either. That's the only other thing I can think of. But this
Is it Penta?
No, it was El Grande. Was it El
Yeah,
Grande
that doesn't-
Americano?
that
Because
doesn't-
Penta was in the match with LA Knight. I know
Oh,
that
that's
for a
right.
fact.
That's right.
that doesn't make sense.
That's
so,
the
yeah.
only thing I did like was LA Knight driving the
Yeah.
ambulance, and I was like, okay, they're gonna mix him back in
Do we
with
think,
him.
Do we think there's any chance? Tell me, smack me down right away. Is there any chance it's Jimmy himself?
That's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping.
I
Because
don't,
Jimmy wasn't there in the ambulance. It was Jacob Fatu that was freaking out.
True. That's absolutely true. I just figured it was because Jimmy wasn't there that week because he's with Naomi. But
Maybe.
I don't know. Because again, are we really going to rehash this Uso brother, betrayal storyline that didn't work a couple years ago?
Mhm.
I mean, we're about to do the whole Orton and Cody thing again, so
True.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That could sprout an interesting turn for one of these guys, though. We could be seeing either Randy or Cody make a heel turn with this.
Oh,
I don't think they really want to do that with the Usos.
So
right
we
now.
all agree that Cody gets his title back tonight.
I think there's a good chance. honestly.
Just to set it up for WrestleMania.
But
sorry.
no,
Or
I'm sorry.
Jacob jumps
There's
in. And
there's no chance in the world though this match goes off without Jacob jumping in.
I will say it seems like they're trying to test the waters because I was seeing some Twitter stuff where people were posting that attendance has gone up since Drew's gotten the
Yes.
belt and viewership has gone up. So it seems like, I don't know for sure, but it seems like the dirt sheets that are connected to the WWE throw out these things and read the tea leaves to see what we think and pivot based on that. So I'm at this point, I think it may be 50-50 toss up. And I think there's a good chance that what you've been calling for weeks happens, which is there's just some sort of mash 'em up that leads this to being a triple threat match.
Yeah, or a 4-way at some point. Because again, you got 4 of the biggest names in the company all wanting that belt. Why wouldn't you really put all of them together? You've been brewing this Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre beef for a while. Drew and Cody has been going longer than Drew and CM Punk did. It would really make sense that they find a way to throw all 4 of these men in there.
It'd be cool.
It really would. But I don't know. I think there's a good chance that you're right, Spark, that maybe they just give the belt back to Cody.
that's what it feels like.
But
Team TKO.
well, you just touched
People
on
can
it,
be
though.
pissed though because Drew
Yeah.
has barely had it.
And fans don't want to see that anymore. I mean, we've seen it with the Roman Reigns thing. When you shove a wrestler down fans' throats and make him the champion for too long, people hate it. And you're already getting hated on by every hater on the internet as it is right now. If you just drop the belt back to Cody, it's gonna get worse.
And he's finally getting the love of not being a bubblegum star.
Yes.
So if they do that, we are right back. You're right. We're right back in that seat.
It's like we talked about last week with Cody talking about some places is like an away game or he's getting booze finally, and he's like, I feed off of it. I don't care what if it's booing or cheering. As long as they're making noise, I'm doing my job.
Well, and Bubba Ray brought up a really interesting point too. We're seeing Cody more and more come out in less suits and more leisure wear, more like jeans and a t-shirt or the sweatsuits or whatever. And that might be on purpose because heel Cody could be more of like what we saw with Dusty.
Yeah.
Face Dusty was very suave, very, business savvy, all that type of stuff. Kind of looked more like a Ric Flair double.
Yeah.
When it came to him being a heel, he was the everyman. He didn't really care to look good. He didn't care to look good for you people in the crowd. And I think that's the same thing we're seeing with Cody here is his more heel persona comes out more when we see him in just jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah. I would love to see him grunge down. And now we've got the real cartoon figures coming along that can move that youth market merch that he can fill this role.
And I argue there is never a better time to shift him to a heel right now because you got guys like Jey Uso, soon to be Danhausen, Roman, all these other major faces that already sell enough merch for you anyway. I mean, CM Punk alone probably sells enough for you to sit there and say, we could probably let Cody take a break on the merch counter.
Even if he was the heel, I think it'll pop. I think it'll blow up and he'll probably get a louder pop when he comes out and is a heel. So I don't even know how you would turn him into a heel that the fans aren't going to love.
That's fair. I mean, at this point, you're right. Him being a tweener would probably still sell. So
I mean, I'll buy a Cody shirt if he was a bad dude. And,
me too.
Put the makeup back on. I would love that, dude.
The logo too kind of fits for a heel as much as it does for a face. You know what I mean? Like that, the skull with the wings and stuff like that does look really badass.
I was just going to say the helmets too.
Yes.
It works.
Yeah, you could totally make it work. And I love when he comes out in those helmets. The Iron Man style one too looks sick.
Same thing with like Finn, but it was the same thing as like last week when we saw Seth come out. He's getting a pop again where he's not getting booed. And it just so happened that quick that all of a sudden people love him again. I'm like,
you miss him, dude. I'm telling you, the minute he got injured, everybody started realizing, oh no, we don't get Seth every week.
No.
We're gonna have to wait for months.
And I'm always been a Seth fan.
Love Seth.
But it's always funny because CM Punk gets his big titles when Seth's gone.
Yep.
And I'm like, they better take that title from him. If it's not Roman, it better be Seth. And now I'm seeing, I think it was you that talked Seth.
Well, I can't take credit for it.
I'm seeing it all over ever since I heard you say it, though. I'm seeing it with Seth and
I
Seth and
cannot
Brock.
take credit for this. A buddy of mine who follows us on Instagram reached out to me and said Seth versus Brock is going to happen. And I laughed and I said, you know what?
It makes sense now.
didn't even consider it, but you're absolutely right. There is one avenue now that I could see for Brock Lesnar. It's no longer Obafemi. It is Seth freaking Rollins.
And it makes sense because you've got the unbeatable beast and you've got this other guy who's got maybe 24 assassins that we don't know.
Right. And they have had plenty of matches in the past. Now, do they want to work together again is the question. From what I understand, Brock Lesnar does not leave the other wrestler very keen to work with him again after usual situations.
Fair.
So I'm not sure if Seth wants to work with Brock, but Seth Rollins usually is one of those guys that'll do the best thing for the company.
And if you say, and seeing those videos of Brock tapping himself out in the Rumble, I'm like, maybe he doesn't have enough gas in the tank to be too stiff in that ring anymore.
Well, I would assume he's working out right now though and getting ready for this because he has to make appearances now from this Monday until WrestleMania to make sure that we have some sort of build up for this.
And ever since he fell, every time he comes out, he's like double, triple checking where his feet are.
And I'm glad you brought that up because are you sticking around or do you got to take off?
You got me.
Let's take a break then real quick and we can get into the other comments that Logan made because
you say LA Knight, Flail's going to get all pumped
up. I'm telling you, I love LA, but we brought it up on Tuesday that his slip on the second rope is just another example of why we think the backstage isn't really pushing him the way we want because obviously he doesn't look as clean or as crisp as a lot of these other people. Logan Paul came to his defense though and kind of explained why he slipped and how it's not his fault. So let's take a break real quick. On the other side, we'll get into that. Plus, I want to bounce some of these basketball stories off of you. Obviously, Jason Tatum coming back and all that stuff. So this is the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back here in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Early bird special.
Well, G-
Uh, we talked about this before the break. Logan Paul comes in defense of LA Knight. Yeah. I know that as fans, we can only talk about what we see. And obviously, the technical parts of all of this kind of go by the wayside a lot of the time. But Logan makes a very good point on why LA Knight slips, and honestly makes a very good argument for all the rest of the wrestlers too, why they mess up so often. And it actually has to do with something that he started too. So let's hear from Logan real quick before
I also want to say this though, while we're on this topic, because again, I hate to defend LA Knight, but that botch wasn't his fault. That rope was really slippery. And guess what? I'm gonna say it. By the end of the night, the middle of that ring gets really slippery with them logos painted in there. I'll just say it, bro. I noticed. I can't get running full speed. I got to be really careful with my feet and my placement because the logos that they now paint in the middle of the ring that I started it with Prime. We were the first in-ring, middle of the ring sponsor ever with the logo.
Yeah, you're the problem.
No, because it's not us anymore. It's not us anymore. And I know this was a thing because before we did that, we were going back and forth with WWE about whether or not it was even possible.
he brings up a really good point that we don't really consider that these ring ropes and the corners and especially the floor get incredibly slippery due to all the oils and stuff that obviously are bouncing off of them every single minute. Should we probably as fans have more sympathy for some of these athletes, for some of these botches as everybody likes to call them?
Well, considering we're talking about one of my boyfriends in LA Knight, yes, of course, yes. Well, I've got one boyfriend defending another, and I couldn't be happier over here. And the reason I say that we should subjectively give some grace is because we do this. We do this in gymnastics. We do this in diving. You've got your score for execution and your score for difficulty. There are few people in the ring that have a move set with more difficulty than some of the things that LA Knight does in there. But every time that something happens that's a botch, which by the way, they're waiting and setting him up for, they act like he's Jey Uso who cannot execute a neck drag, which is much different than a triple rope jump.
His name always gets
Speaking
brought
with
up.
Logan,
I apologize.
because Logan,
I just blacked out. I don't even know what I said.
I thought Logan was hurt one of our guys with Evans when he did the finish move.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
really
"Ooh."
close to just being dropped right on top of his head. But like with LA Knight, because you do bring up a good point that he usually does some difficult things when he's out there. We haven't seen him do the what do they call it? The super oh god, what's the dang name of the move? I'm drawing a blank here. Where he jumps up on the third rope and suplexes them.
Yep.
Right off the top of it. He hasn't done that since he tripped that one time with Braun Breaker and dang near messed up his neck.
Almost
at the
broke
same
his
time.
neck. Yeah.
So is it more that his style of wrestling needs to change?
It could be.
Or does the WWE need to do more to kind of clean
Drying
up
off the turnbuckles and stuff like that.
Why don't they? Like, why don't they send people out there in between matches to just dry off the ropes and the turnbuckles real quick?
Yeah, they should. And it's really, he's kind of in a vortex right now where I think up to a month or two ago, everybody could agree that he had been held back so much by the company, that it had been kind of pressed down from the main stage. And now he's in this spot where he's held behind, but now everything is scrutinized so much that any little mistake is like, see, that's why. The unreal work where it's like, that's why. And I was talking to Sparky about this. As a performer, I'm very well familiar with how to manage the energies of a show.
Yes.
And as soon as I saw in the PLE in Elimination Chamber when Trick came out and the very next entrant was LA Knight, the first thing I said to Lexi was, "Oh, they're holding him down. They're holding down his pop. There's no way he's winning this, and they're holding down his pop because they just brought him out after the most white hot crowd baby face that they've got." Everybody, as a performer, when you bring out the white hot guy, to diffuse the energy, the next one is either a low energy or you bring out the heel so that you can manage that wave. As soon as LA Knight came out, I went, oh, he's losing, and he's losing early.
That's why I think that we're going to get a Trick Williams LA Knight feud here very soon, probably even starting tonight, if I'm being honest. But I had to agree. I saw him come out afterwards and said, "Oh, you're trying to have his entrance up against Tricks now?" Like, and I brought this up on Tuesday as well. How good Trick is with the media automatically makes you think, "Oh God, as a 40-year-old wrestler, you have to be scared to death that your spot's about to get taken, because these young guys coming in like Trick, Javon, Oba, soon to be Tony D'Angelo, Ethan Page, these guys are going to be taking your spot very quickly just because they're that good.
So good and brand new. They haven't had a chance to do anything for us to dislike or criticize yet. So it is there's going to be nobody who's upset if they get the nod, because that's what we want. Is we love the shiny new performer.
I wanted to ask this of the two of you as well, because you guys got to watch him as a wrestler more than I did. I got to see the back end of his career, but I am a massive fan of Trick Williams, and now he's getting a lot of comparisons to Booker T.
Oh.
Do you guys see that? I mean, again, I didn't get to watch Booker as a wrestler that much, obviously.
Didn't miss much.
You didn't like him?
I did not. I liked him with the Harlem Heat.
Okay.
But as soon as he started talking a lot more and was more of the Booker T side when he went to WWE, I could not stand him.
Really?
But I do see the similarities in the ring.
Well, I understand that, because I wonder if he was pushed into that boxed in character, the guy that just gets whooped by the big superstar and kind of turns into like punchline joke style. Because you're right, loved him with Harlem Heat days, and but as an in-ring performer, as an athlete,
5 times.
5, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4,
5 times. Sorry.
Incredible performer. And I think what's really fun about watching Trick, it's a great thing to bring up, is because he is like the new evolution, both athletically but also socially, of what we should have gotten in the McMahon days with a Booker T character that he wouldn't give.
As he should have.
They wouldn't give us that Booker T. They just made him do spinneroonies for the big stars.
Right, and be the king forever. And
we're finally making it right with this new star who seems to idolize Booker T himself, which is great.
Yeah, and that's why I've heard him speak so glowingly of Booker, and I've heard the comparisons. I just, again, did not grow up in the height of Booker T's career, so I couldn't necessarily make the comparison myself. But
by the way, local comedian Joe Alany is hilarious. One of my best friends in comedy. For the last 5 years, when you play a song for him to come up on stage, it is Harlem Heat.
Is it really?
It really is.
Good pick.
Awesome.
It really is.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, nice.
One thing, speaking of entrances, which is going to be way off, what really pissed me off was how they had Becky come out first.
Yes.
And then AJ as the challenger.
That's how you kind of know when they're ready to pass the belt away.
I already knew she was going to lose it, but I'm like, really? Like, you can't give her the respect. The challenger is supposed to come out before the champ.
No, 100%. Absolutely agree with you there. But again, they're in Chicago.
I get it.
They know who's going to have the bigger pop,
and if
it
Seth was healthy,
was not Becky.
This crap wouldn't be going on.
Would not be going on.
If Seth was still healthy, we probably would have had her in the vision a long time ago.
Although when he won the belt, he did come out in ivory white and fireworks and like
Chicago
all the
Bulls
like dirtball Jesus. Seth came out and you saw his entrance when he first won the belt. And you're like, well, clearly he's going over tonight.
Is the
They do kind of unhide the ball sometimes,
right?
Unfortunately,
yeah.
And that's what I'm starting to feel like tonight is going to do with Cody. I think it'll be Jacob and a couple other people probably run in, but I somehow, some way think that this is just going to set up Orton and Drew.
Well, we're going to get
Orton and Cody. I mean,
yeah, we're going to get Orton and Aleister Black tonight as well, because they teed that up last week, and that's going to be a quick work match, I'm pretty sure. But do you guys kind of think, and we'll move off of wrestling after this because we've been talking about it for 45 minutes, but
that's it.
It for me, I feel like obviously there's no way in hell this match tonight goes without Jacob Fatu coming in and ruining it for Drew McIntyre in some way, shape, or form, either making him lose the belt altogether or getting DQ'd and ruining the match. But what is the likelihood that Randy comes in and ruins it for Cody?
During WrestleMania.
Let's say Cody is getting ready to come out. He's getting ready for his woe moment in his entrance, And here comes an RKO out of nowhere as he gets absolutely destroyed on the stage. And then Randy stares down Drew and says, it's us in 6 weeks. Prepare for that. This ain't happening.
And puts Cody over on.
It puts Cody over as a face, puts Randy as a heel.
Well, when he did it, and to your point, when he RKO'd Javon Evans, he did give a weird look to Cody to see.
He's given him that look multiple times.
Well, and it was almost like Cody turned his head just at the right time to avoid an RKO, and that's when Randy backed out of the ring. It's almost like if the back of his head is turned facing me for too long, he's going down.
Oh yeah,
Say it would be cool to see.
I'm just saying. I think that there is an alleyway here to really make this the most talked about match going into WrestleMania.
Fatal 4-way at Mania. Throw Seth in there. Just get Danhausen.
I want to see Seth and Brock. But with the last couple minutes we talked about Tatum maybe returning tonight back in the lineup with Boston. What do you think about that? I know we're a little over a month before the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm scared for him to come back this soon, but also it's sign of the times to me, and to me this is real opportunism from a personal standpoint and from a business standpoint. I mean, it's pretty clear now, especially when you see a lot of the Oklahoma City players going down. I think I saw they've got 2 players that may have extended. They may be out for an extended period of time for the next couple of weeks. It's pretty clear right now that the field is wide open to get a chip this year.
Yes, at least on the east side.
And I think that's part of hurrying Jason Tatum back, is because it's more wide open now than anybody would have expected it last summer. And then the second thing is to ease back in because they have played so well. Because it's so wide open, if they make a title run with only Jaylen Brown, without you, boy, is that going to cause some difficult conversations in the offseason.
He needs to get paid as well. And, I saw Cooper Flagg came back last night. He's back in the lineup. He looked good. But, I mean, we got March Madness coming up. We've got all sorts of stuff. It's going to start lighting up. And, I would hate to not bring it up, but, the NFL is still taking over the headlines,
as they always do,
and they will continue Monday. The league officially starts. Do you expect any crazy trades? I know we talked about DJ Moore, and then shortly after we got off the air, he was traded. You think this AJ Brown talk is real?
I do, and it's as our GM Howie Roseman, we call it Howie season, where he gets to work, and things have just been too vocal on the AJ Brown front that I think he's too good. Howie is too good of a mover in the offseason to get picks and players. And it's pretty clear that AJ Brown is ready to move on. I think this is time.
You think it's a New England thing? Because I know with the Diggs cut the other day, and we've heard from Vrabel talking about his tight relationship with AJ. I mean, maybe I think now with the Bills getting their number 1 receiver, we've had a text this morning that expects, guys like Keenan Allen was linked to Atlanta.
Well,
I was like, okay, well, maybe this
it.
AJ Brown too. I've also heard that Tyreek to Chicago is something that are mixing in. But say AJ Brown is traded, is there somebody out there, whether I know it's a top wide receiver heavy draft, or is there somebody that really, looks like somebody that would fit in with this Philly offense?
I feel like historically, as much as it seems like a fit in New England, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like historically New England is pretty stingy with picks, which I'm guessing for their team makeup is all Philly's really going to be able to get in return. So
yeah, but I'd be willing to give up, what would it be, the 31st overall pick this year for AJ Brown?
I think it makes
a pretty
sense.
fair trade.
I think it makes total sense. I just don't know if they'll do it. Historically, they haven't. They've held late first, early second round picks and acquired them at least historically. So I don't know if they'll do that, but I see a team that's got everything except some offensive fire. I mean, maybe send them to an old friend in Kansas City or something to that effect.
I don't know. I feel like much like the Bills and the Rams, the Patriots right now need to be in one of those areas of F them picks. You guys you just got to the Super Bowl. You have the talent on this team already. Just make the major move to get yourself there. I think one of the big things that they've been missing is a number 1 receiver that gets open whenever he needs to. That would have helped a lot in the Super Bowl. I know the offensive line was awful, but at the same time, if there was someone out there that was open for him to throw to, he would have threw to him. So
Call me crazy. I think New England takes a step back this year.
Oh, I think you're
I do too.
right, especially since they're going to have to take on harder competition with how well they did this season. But that's even more reason why
You get a
should-
number one receiver.
Exactly. You should punt on your first round pick this year or second rounder, whichever one you want to give up, and go after an AJ Brown. It
Well,
only makes
DJ
sense.
can get a second. I would expect AJ to get a first.
At least.
Well, and look at a team that was a heartbeat away from beating New England. What about Denver making a play at
This
at
is
a
true
stud
too,
receiver like him?
especially since, from what we understand, Cortland Sutton might be gone. They may not bring him back either.
Yep.
So that's a good point. I don't know. I feel like New England is the number one choice for AJ, though, just because obviously the former coach being there.
If he had a choice.
If you had a choice. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all the best for my favorite emotional little ball catching diva.
Do you think Eagles do right by him real quick, though, before we get out of here?
We usually do, and we wrap our arms around our players, but we're going to boo and throw some snowballs at him when he returns.
Of
Be ready
course.
for that.
And then Crosby to Dallas. Does that scare you?
It's not going to happen.
It's probably not, but just the thought of it.
Nothing to Dallas scares me for the last 23 years. I'm good with it.
My friend, thank you so much for your time. We
Thank you,
appreciate
boys.
you as always. Thank you guys for joining us this week. Join us on Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. as always. But until then, we got to get out of here. Sparky,
Sparky,
let's
let's
go
get out
now.
of here.